What we're going to look at here is ways to identify focus areas for soil health management systems and some of these tools, which include, of course, the toolbox that we're going to get into. I'm going to get into kind of a strategy, and based off of these tools, you may use, some of them more than others. We'll go ahead and first of all, we'll kind of look at a couple of these, 116 as well as 162 to see what's involved with, putting together some of these plans. You look at them, they're kind of similar. Of course, one is a DIA versus a CAP or a CPA. And then if you look further down in through here, you'll see these list of primary practices. If you look in this list of practices, as well as the practices in 162, they're very similar. The only thing that's different is just there is an 808 soil carbon amendment. One of the things that's interesting about this is looking at these practices, conservation crop rotation 328, no-till 329, 334, controlled traffic farming, and as well as residue and tillage management, reduced till, basically called mulch till usually. Those need to be just on cropland acres. However, the other practices, including the ones I have, here in grazing lands, can be on multiple land uses, not just grazing lands. But to go ahead and best, look at, how we can use these tools and practically when you would use them and how you use them, grazing lands, typically you're looking at, the forage and biomass planting, sometimes called it's pasture and hayland planting, as well as prescribed grazing here in this 528, and then range planting here in the 550. Even if those aren't on grazing lands, they will be grazing lands. And then, of course, you get into these practices just that apply everywhere, soil testing, as well as conservation cover, cover crop, mulch, irrigation water management, which, of course, just only pertains to acres that are irrigated. Nutrient management, pest management, typically those are associated more with cropland than other land uses, but they can be used on other land uses as well too. And then we get into the salinity and sodic soil management, as well as soil carbon amendment. So just for identifying what's going on, this is kind of a cool tool because it can do multiple things. One of the things it can show you is what your land uses are. So I'm going to look in Oklahoma. The tool is actually built more for range. However, one of those things that has multiple uses and has a lot of interesting information. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that off for now. Just get into land cover, just so we can see what's going on. So with that, go ahead and open this up. As you can see here, and you can see like all the different land uses here. If it's open water, it's blue, we get it, it's fine. We're going to go ahead and get into, let's do Oklahoma, because we have a lot of different land uses in not the largest state in the country. So as you can see through here, there's a lot of cropland here with the browns. There's a lot of range as well here too. You'll see here and then here. And then we'll, you see the cities. This is obviously Tulsa, and this is Oklahoma City. And then you'll get into, what it says like evergreen forest here. So a lot of pines and things like that in through here. And then we get into hay and pasture land over and through here. Get into, of course, some deciduous forests over and through here. So it kind of gives us an idea of what's going on. I'm going to go into the SSURGO-QT tool real fast. One thing about it is you need to disconnect your VPN so that it works good. We'll go into SSURGO. Now there is some cool things in here. You know, we'll look at this a little later when we want to try to drill down, and there is like another quick video on just SSURGO-QT. I like this ecoregion data. Just go by state, and then you can pull it up. So we're going to click on Oklahoma. So you can read a little bit about, you know, what's going on. Just kind of, you know, for the sake of today, maybe not focus as much on the panhandle. And as we look at some of these other tools, we'll kind of see where we may want to prioritize within the state. So you see here, this is a very, you know, common one, 27. And in fact, basically everything in through here is 27. When you go over here and you read about 27, you know, there'll be more commonalities than not. So there'll be very distinct differences, but essentially you can kind of read over and through here. It'll kind of tell you, you know, there's the salt plains, there's the rolling red hills, there's the limestone hills. And as well as there's some other 27 over here. So it's good to go ahead and, you know, read about that. Here's all the other, you know, 27. Go back. You can read more about this. See, you know, kind of what the land uses are, what the vegetation is, just to try to, you know, get real familiar with what's going on and what kind of practices, and not only that, but, you know, how you may kind of tweak some of these practices if you get in the planning stage.